Hmm. So in this activity, we're looking at understanding inequity. Many factors impact health and well-being. Some impacts are easy to see in the health of individuals and communities. Others relate to historic, social, and systemic factors, which are harder to see. We're using a tree as a metaphor. The branches of the tree represent the proximal determinants, or the most obvious influences. They include the social and physical environments that directly affect health and well-being. Impacts relate to factors such as income, education, and the living and social conditions that Indigenous people experience. The trunk represents the intermediate determinants, which create the environments that impact health and well being and limit access to services, resources, and self determination. The roots represent the distal determinants, or the deepest level of interference. These are the historical, political, and socioeconomic systems that shape Indigenous peoples' experiences. The impacts relate to factors such as colonization, systemic racism, and economic systems. In this activity, I'm supposed to drag and drop these different um, items into either proximal, intermediate, or distal. Mm. Loss of autonomy, poverty. Poverty is pretty close to home. I would say forced assimilation. Probably has happened historically, so maybe in the intermediate. Well, forced assimilation was like historical. Experiences of abuse. That's probably like intermediate, like when they're growing up. A Euro-Western education. Yeah, that's probably right here. That's kind of developmental in the life of someone who's indigenous. Unsafe drinking water, that's immediate. Systemic racism, I would say that's intermediate. Or no, oh, it's probably distal. So that's like kind of like, yeah, that's kind of like the foundation that they're working in. Barriers to healthcare, probably right here. Intermediate. Discrimination, do you feel it right away? Yeah, that's intermediate. Lower education levels, I think it's probably intermediate. Inadequate housing, yeah, that's you'll feel that right away. Children are apprehended, yeah, that's what you feel. Colonization, that's foundational. Loss of autonomy, that's what you feel. Yeah. No, that didn't work. Loss of autonomy is here. Oh, you don't have autonomy. Oh, historically. Loss of language, yeah, that's historical. People tried to get rid of the First Nations languages. Isolated communities, yeah, kind of like living outside of, well, that's what you're feeling, they feel right now. Violence, that's what you experience right now. Individualistic economic system, so kind of a siloed economic system. I want to say it's here. No, here. Oh, individualistic economic system. Okay, so everybody fend for themselves, rather than a kind of a circular community where people support each other. Yeah, so that's the Western society. Losing land disposition. This is historical. Indian reserve system. That's historical. High incarceration rates. That's probably historical. Or no, I guess that's what they experience. Indian Act. That's definitely foundational or distal. Unfair treatment in the justice system. Of course, that's probably here. No, unfair treatment, intermediate. Food insecurity. That's how it manifests. Oh, food insecurity happened in childhood. Okay, got it. Government policies. Yeah, being marginalized. That's how you experience high rates of child apprehension. That's what we see. Underrepresented in leadership. Well, that's historical. But we see that right now. Lack of economic opportunities. Wow. So these are some of the determinants the distal, intermediate, and proximal determinants of wellness, of health for the indigenous. How it would be horrible to live in this situation.